If your revenue is stuck, it's not your hustle, it's your formula. I am Dr. Linette Montae, and if you are ready to grow bolder, profit faster, and scale smarter, let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about Get Paid. Get Paid is an acronym. The P, the A, the I, and the D stand for very specific steps and strategies you need to be following in order to get paid. And in subsequent videos in this series, I am going to cover each of those letters in greater detail. However, in this overview video, I want to talk about the get paid in general. Because if you don't understand this part of the formula, then when I talk about the P, the A, the I, and the D, you are not going to take the action necessary to make a difference in your revenue. And not just your revenue, but in your legacy. Because after all, that's why we are in business. So let's look at it this way. In order for me to stay on track, because I love to teach and I can really go deep sometimes, and also in order for you to remember, today I'm going to focus on the 5 W's plus the H, right? We learned that in school. And so this will help you to remember today's topic, today's message. So let's start with who. The who is always you. Everything that happens in your business starts and ends with you. So when you think about getting paid, the who becomes important because if you are not healthy, if you're not taking care of you and who you be, that's your mind, your body, your spirit, your energy, because whatever you did to get to this level of profitability may not be enough for you to continue elevating your revenue. So, how are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing on a regular basis to make sure that you are good? Because you not being good is not going to be good for business. And so, we're talking about your who is the one that hustled to get here. But hustling is not going to help you get to the next level. We have to make some changes because once you are a profitable CEO, getting to the next level, getting to more commas is not going to happen just because it worked to get you here. So your who is always you. You cannot look at someone else. You cannot blame someone else. You cannot expect things from someone else that you are not delivering for you, that you are not delivering to your business, and that you are not delivering for those who are around you. That includes your team, that includes your family. The next W is what? What are you doing? What is your business model? Are you in a hours for dollars model? Because if you're still in an hours for dollars model, you are going to have a difficult time elevating your revenue and increasing your income. When you get to this point of profitability in your business, the focus is not just on growth, it is on scale. Scale means that you may need to shift your business model so that your what is paying more attention to processes and systems instead of the what being all about what are you going to do every single day. There has to be a pivot in how that revenue is happening if this is going to continue to work. The hustle was fine in order to get you to growth. But in order to scale, the what you are doing definitely has to change. The what you are offering may also need to change. And so, yes, you arrived at this 6 or even 7 figures with the what that has been working. I absolutely congratulate you. I salute you on that. But in order to add another comma, That what may need to shift from one-on-one to a group format. That format may need to shift to offering programs or products, but more does not necessarily increase your profitability. It may possibly increase your revenue, but scaling isn't just about increasing revenue. Scaling is also about making sure that you are not increasing your expenses while you are increasing revenue. That's the whole goal. And so your what may be changing what you're offering. It may be changing what the packaging of your offering looks like. It may be changing what you are saying in your marketing and in your offers. There's so many pieces that go into the what. And so we've done the who, the what, and now the next W is where. Where are you being seen? Where are you being heard? Where can people find you? Where can they find your product or service? Where are you being visible? Because if they don't know who you are and if they don't know what you have, then it's going to be difficult or impossible to get sales and to increase your revenue. Listen, I am not just talking to people who are just getting started. There is this gap that happens when you reach about $750,000. So many CEOs who are highly profitable will achieve greatness in what they have been doing, and then they will reach this place that feels like they cannot get from 750K to the $1 million mark. It happens all the time. So when you hear me talking about things that you feel like you may know already, the truth is getting to the million from the 750K or from the 500K is going to require you to get back to basics. All of these tactics that you hear being taught online, that you hear being taught by gurus, they may work in the hustle. But when you get to truly having a successful business, in order to elevate that business, in order to continue to get paid, you are really going to need to get back to basics. That's where tried and true strategies live. They do not live in tactics. Tactics cannot survive seven figures. So, wherever you have been showing up until this point may not be the place that your next level client is hanging out. The clients that you have been serving, the customers that you have been serving that got you here may not be the same customer that you want to work with or that you need to work with or that are best for you to work with going forward. So, do you know where those clients hang out? Not just where are you hanging out because that's where you've been used to being, but where are your next level clients hanging out? And so we've done the who and the where. We've done the what. And now we want to go to when. The when I want to talk about is when are you asking for the money? When are you increasing your prices? Because the prices that you've been offering are likely not the best pricing or prices to get you to the next level. Because when you started this journey, your skill set, your knowledge, your experience, your testimonials, they were where they were. But now you are going someplace else. You are going higher. And that means that your pricing, your value has increased. You can increase your pricing now. Do you have to? You don't have to. But 9 times out of 10, when a client comes to work with me, one of the first things that I notice is their pricing. They are charging too little for their expertise and for what it is that they're delivering. So I want you to ask yourself, when am I going to raise my rates, raise my prices, and when am I going to ask for the sale? I again challenge you. Are you asking for the sale too late? Are you continuing to deliver free value, or low cost value, or trust building offers, or things that are at a lower level of intensity, lower level of investment because you aren't ready, because you're afraid, because you believe that someone who just met you will not pay a high dollar amount for your services? So you believe it's going to take a whole lot of nurturing to get them to that point. That is not true. It is true if you believe it's true, but it's not necessarily the case. If you are delivering value and you are using the correct language, the language that magnetizes and speaks to the person who needs what you have, it doesn't take all that. It doesn't take that long. It does not require an extensive nurturing series or nurturing process or nurturing journey to get someone to say yes. So are you waiting too long to ask for the sale? Because while you have warmed them up, while you have taught them and educated them and given them tips and strategies, you have actually prepared them for someone else to come in and swoop up that sale. So when are you going to ask for the sale? I recommend that you ask for the sale almost immediately. Because if they're not ready, that's fine. They can say no, but it doesn't mean no as in forever. It usually just means not yet. But if they don't know what you have to sell, if they don't know what you have to offer, if they don't know how you can help them, then the yes is not going to come anytime soon. So when are you going to raise your prices? And when are you going to ask for the sale? Who, what, where, when, and what is the next one? It's why. What is your why? That's what so many people teach you. Believe it or not, the why that got you here may not be strong enough to get you to the next comma. The why that got you here was based on the beliefs and the strength of the belief that you held at that time. But now that you are a profitable CEO, you have more belief because you've done it. And so your why may be different. If your why originally started out because you wanted to buy a home for your parents and you wanted to send your children to private school and you wanted a new house for yourself, you have arrived at the place where you've done those things. So that can no longer be the why that sustains you through your next journey. And believe me, it is going to still be a journey. Don't think for 1 minute that because you have arrived at this place of being a profitable CEO, that you are not still going to have challenges, that you are not still going to pivot, that you are not still going to need to rebrand, that you're not going to need to expand. There is so much more change and growth that is going to happen in your next part of this business. And so, what is your why going to be able to sustain the weight of the growth? Because if it cannot, when the big bad wolf comes and starts to huff and puff on your successful business, it can crumble. Why do you think it is that so many businesses that make the Inc. 5000 go out of business shortly after? It's because they grew so quickly that they did not have the foundations in place to be able to handle the weight of the growth. And so when the growth happened, their entire foundation, the infrastructure of their business that they really didn't have, came crumbling down. And so you need to have a strong why. The other side of the why is why will your target market, and even better than target market, who is your ideal client? Why do they need what you have and why do they need it now? And why will they buy it from you? And so when we talk about why, think about who you want to work with next. Is it the same ideal client? By the time that you've reached this level of success, you know who you enjoy working with. You know who you don't. You know how to identify them and not get caught up in bright, shiny objects and thinking that because they have the money to pay you, that they are for you. So, one of the things that I want to say here that really comes to mind for me is that we sometimes believe that the customer, the prospect, is interviewing us. We have to show up. We have to prove that we are the person that they should or should not work with. The reality is that you are also interviewing them. You also need to decide whether this person is the right fit for you. Money is not the only reason to take on a client or to take money from a customer. And so we've done the who, the what, the where, the when, the why. And now the H is the how. How are you going to get paid? I am going to do a separate video on each of those letters because I want to dig into each one as opposed to rushing through them and you walking away with fluff instead of nuggets that you can actually use right away. And so I'm going to wrap up this video by saying this here. Get paid means that you are successful. You are at high six figures, you're at seven figures, whatever success means for you, there is another level. And when you go to that next level, you can put yourself in a situation where your money starts to slow, where your money starts trickling in. We don't want that to happen. We don't want you to grow at a snail's pace. We want you to continue to get paid. So please stay tuned, watch the next video, listen to what each of those letters are and what you need to do for each letter so that your growth turns into sustainable scaling. It turns into repeat revenue. If you found value in this video, be sure to subscribe and comment. I am Dr. Linette Montae, legacy influencer and profit strategist, guiding you to scale smarter without busy work, burnout, or bottlenecks. Until next time, live the legacy you want to leave.